Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, class of 2025. My name is Fred Ewald. I am the chair of the board. My son graduated 4 years ago. It's remarkable standing here how quickly 4 years go in the blink of an eye. And I'm sure some parents here feel the same way. But this is a day of milestones. It's a day of recognition, of acknowledgement, and of tribute. So to the class of 2025, congratulations. Today we celebrate not just your academic accomplishments, but your growth as thoughtful, engaged, and courageous young people. It's a special pleasure to be gathered here at the Cathedral Church of St. Paul. Beautiful venue. This was chosen by the school to enable more visitors, more participants, and to my untrained eye, I think we achieved that goal. This beautiful and historic setting allows us to welcome more friends. It's a fitting place for the celebration that reflects both the closeness of our school community and the significance of this moment in your lives. When you entered Commonwealth 4 years ago, the world looked very different. We were still in the throes of a global pandemic. Many rituals of high school life were postponed or canceled. We had to make mass social distancing and uncertainty itself a lifestyle. Despite this, you learned to adapt, to persist, and to find connections in new ways. You didn't just endure that moment, you grew through it. You learned that community isn't about being in the same room, but it's about caring deeply for one another. Now, as you graduate, the world continues to evolve, and with it, a new set of challenges. Political polarization has deepened, creating tension and testing the strength of our institutions. Social divisions rooted in inequality and historic injustice still demand our attention and action. And around the world, conflict and unrest remind us how fragile peace can be. These are not easy problems, but they're the kind of challenges that require thoughtful, principled leadership, the kind of leadership that you've begun to develop at Commonwealth. You carry with you something powerful, the ability to think critically and to act with purpose. Commonwealth has not only encouraged your intellect, but also nurtured your sense of responsibility. You've learned to ask hard questions, to listen well, and to see complexity not as a barrier, but a reason to engage more deeply. These habits will serve you well in a world that increasingly needs people who are both smart and grounded, curious and compassionate. The truth is, the issues we face today will not simply vanish. They'll take new forms 4 years from now. As you graduate from college, the headlines may be different, but the need for thoughtful, ethical leadership will remain. The world will still be asking hard questions, and we will still need people willing to answer them. That is why we need you, our Commonwealth graduates. We need your intellect, your integrity, and your capacity to imagine a better world. We need you to bring your full selves into the world, not with fear, but with clarity, commitment, and hope. You are the future, and the future depends on you. So as you step into this next chapter, I urge you, hold fast to your curiosity. Keep showing up with your whole self. And don't wait for someone else to fix what's broken. Lead with purpose, lead with heart. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we are proud of you. We are inspired by you. And we believe in the world you're about to shape. Congratulations, class of 2025.
Suspenseful. Welcome, family and friends, cousins and grandparents, trustees, alumni, faculty, staff, and students. I'm Jennifer Borman, head of school and a proud alumna of the Commonwealth class of 1981. Seniors, in a short while, you will join me among the ranks of Commonwealth graduates. On your way to graduation this morning, you may have passed the striking sculpture just across the street, the Embrace, honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. It features huge burnished arms entwining and supporting each other. It commemorates Dr. King's time at Boston University, his loving partnership with Coretta, and their shared commitment to the fight for civil rights. It struck me as a fitting symbol for today because it captures something essential about your time at Commonwealth. Like the arms in that sculpture, you've reached out toward one another. You've crossed lines of difference and built a community that aspires to inclusion and understanding. That spirit of unity is patently visible today in the choice many of you made to mark this moment in caps and gowns. The Embrace also reminds us that striving for justice is not a solitary act. It is rooted in relationship. Commonwealth's founder, Charles Merrill, knew Martin Luther King Jr. personally and worked closely with his father, Martin Luther King Sr., while they were both trustees at Morehouse College. Charles Merrill wove his commitments to civil rights and to social justice directly into his vision for our school. He wanted Commonwealth to cultivate true intellectual distinction, and he wanted that opportunity to be available to students from many different backgrounds, particularly to Black students and to students from less privileged backgrounds. These commitments to diversity, to creating opportunity, and to doing so in a respectful community still pulse through the beating heart of our school. The commitments are not always perfectly realized, nor were they in Merrill's day, but we continue to push ourselves to live up to our ideals. You have carried them forward in your own ways, with openness, curiosity, and a sense of care for others. When I was a student at Commonwealth, we were advocating to make Dr. King's birthday a national holiday. That effort felt important, and yet it seems almost quaint when compared to the issues we're facing today. In the broader world, in our courts, on the college campuses that you're about to enter, diversity has become a flashpoint, a wedge, and often a cudgel. You, by contrast, have unabashedly championed diversity, equity, inclusion, and connection. I've often asked myself how the tumult in our wider world has shaped you. My sense is that it's amplified your optimism and your efforts to create community. As Mr. Ewald mentioned, I first met you in 2021 when you entered as ninth graders and I began my own first year as head of school. You applied to Commonwealth without ever having stepped through the doors at 151. Your parents made that leap of faith with you, and we're so grateful you leapt. We first saw each other masked, getting to know each other through eyes and eyebrows. We spent that first year swabbing nostrils and trying to make Zoom recess feel a little less dismal. And although the pandemic slowly loosened its grip, as I mentioned, and as you know, the years since have been intense. During your time in high school, you've witnessed consequential court cases, wars in the Ukraine and Gaza, political polarization, if not outright hatred, disinformation, and the rise of generative AI, all reasons to feel like the ground is shifting underneath our feet. Yet in the midst of so much upheaval, you didn't withdraw, you reached out. You founded affinity groups, you led Diversity Day presentations, you organized blood drives and collected supplies for those in need. You led our efforts on environmental stewardship. You created community as a daily practice. As you get ready to graduate, I pause to celebrate your presence in our community. We will miss your fully inhabited Shakespeare monologues at recess, and oh, how we will miss your music, your voices, saxophone, clarinet, violin, guitar, piano, flute, and especially your bass. We'll miss you on our soccer, basketball, and ultimate frisbee teams. We'll miss your triumphant announcements at recess and, just as often, your witty acknowledgments of defeat. We'll miss your leadership at Model UN and your voice in our literary magazine. We'll miss you sprawled out on the Dartmouth lobby sofas like philosophers on sabbatical. We'll miss your Hancock meals, mostly. What we will miss most deeply is your presence in our classrooms. We've reveled in your careful interpretations, your inventive code, your experimental designs, and your elegant proofs. We will miss you in discussion, your willingness to listen and to build on each other's ideas. You've grown from 9th grade pipsqueaks into thoughtful, confident seniors. You've truly earned the diplomas we are about to confer. But no one arrives at this moment by themselves. On your behalf and mine, I want to thank your parents for their commitment and their partnership. I want to thank our trustees who give so much to safeguard our school and keep our mission vibrant. And I want to thank our extraordinary faculty and staff. They are scholars, artists, polymaths, truth seekers, and they bring empathy, humor, and high standards to everything they do. I'm honored to work alongside them, and I know you share my respect and gratitude. And speaking of extraordinary faculty, I'd like to close with a personal note of thanks. One of my own 9th grade teachers is here with us today, Polly Chatfield, who taught ancient history and many other subjects over her decades-long tenure at Commonwealth. Polly, I don't remember as much as I would wish about Xerxes or the Punic Wars, but I do remember a more important lesson: to teach with love. I hope that's one of the things you remember when you look back on your time with us. For one last minute, I hold you in our loving embrace. I hope you will continue to reach out to those who are different from you. I hope you will continue to act on your belief that we owe each other care and fairness. I hope you will continue to embrace and stay connected. Congratulations, class of 2025. And now it is my pleasure to welcome the first of our senior speakers to the stage, Payson Villamoria, to be followed by Melanie Rodriguez.
Is this good? Okay. On the 5th of November, 333 BCE, Alexander the Great and his 37,000-man Hellenic League met the Persian king Darius III and his 100,000-man Achaemenid Empire at what's now known as the Battle of Issus, somewhere in present-day Turkey. After Alexander had already made a fool of the Persian army only a year before, Darius took matters into his own hands, assuming direct control of the army in hopes of achieving some much-needed revenge. Thinking he could outsmart the Hellenic army, which, if we're being honest, is somewhat egotistical when you're facing a guy with the Great in his name, Darius and his newly reinforced army surprised Alexander and his troops from behind, cutting off their supply line, forcing the Battle of Issus. I don't think I'm wrong in assuming most of you weren't hoping for a history lesson this morning. Don't worry, there won't be a test on this. There's only a small chance Miss Budding will try to quiz you on the way out. But what does the Battle of Issus have to do with, well, anything? To answer that, let me take you back to the mind of 8th grade Payson, who, somehow, behind the 2 feet of hair that used to hide his entire face, was trying to look attentive on camera during his Commonwealth Revisit Day Zoom call. There I was, sitting on my bed, on a call with a group of other incoming freshmen, half listening to Mr. Connolly teach a mock history class, and half trying, unsuccessfully, to figure out what everyone was going to be like just based on their tiny Zoom profile pictures. All of a sudden, Mr. Connolly shared his screen, snapping me back into focus. There it was, right in the middle of my screen, the Alexander mosaic, rediscovered in 1843 in Pompeii, Italy. Partly destroyed by, you guessed it, the eruption in Pompeii, but also amazingly preserved by the ash, Mr. Connolly explained how the now famous mosaic remains one of the oldest surviving representations of the Battle of Issus. Mr. Connolly started by asking us what we saw. After a couple of awkward seconds, my future classmates began piecing the picture together. On the right was Darius, towering above the chaos below in his gilded chariot, a sea of spears pointing up behind him, which, like Darius's finger, were aimed eagerly in the direction of Alexander, who appeared to be sitting alone on a single horse, rearing away from Darius's looming advance. I followed along silently, not willing to add to the conversation. I wasn't about to risk being wrong and making a fool of myself on this Zoom call that I was sure all of my classmates would definitely remember and definitely laugh at me about the moment school started. Then came Don Kahn's next question. Who won the battle? When I gave you all that riveting mini history lesson earlier, I intentionally omitted the outcome. No one on the Zoom call had any idea. Or maybe they were too busy trying, and not very successfully, to look like they weren't staring down at their phones. But I had an idea, and I was so sure I was right. So certain, in fact, that I convinced myself this would be the perfect opportunity to prove to everyone that I belonged at Commonwealth. So I raised that weird little Zoom hand, unmuted myself, and said something along the lines of, "It has to be Darius." How on earth could the short and outnumbered Alexander, who, by the way, contrary to popular belief, wasn't actually that short, even touch Darius? So imagine my surprise when Mr. Connolly, after a painfully long Zoom delay that felt like an eternity, responded, "Not quite." What might tell us otherwise? See, for while Darius's army, a wave of lances pointed high and proud, seems to be charging at the outnumbered and for some reason helmetless Alexander, a closer inspection tells us another story. Turns out, Darius's horses aren't even charging. They're turning around, trying to steer him away from the battle, while Darius's eyes are opened wide as if he had just seen a ghost, or maybe a Mr. Paul calc exam. It's a retreat. I'm sure one of my classmates sitting in front of me today gave Mr. Connolly that exact answer, but I wouldn't know. By that point, I'd completely stopped listening. My ears were red, and I was sweating like crazy. My very first Commonwealth question, and I totally blew it. I didn't bother unmuting again. A few weeks ago, I asked Mr. Connolly if he remembered teaching that lesson. Unsurprisingly, a smile spread across his face at the opportunity to talk about the mosaic. But the lesson he gave us 4 years ago, barely remembered it. He was surprised I did. But for middle school Payson, that call, that colossal, life-changing mistake, replayed in his head more times than I'd like to admit. The whole summer before freshman year, thinking about it made me cringe. But today, I get to look back at it and laugh. It's taken me a long time to realize that Mr. Connolly wanted me to get the answer wrong. Well, not me specifically, but whoever he called on. And it's true, I totally did get it wrong. But contrary to what I thought 4 years ago, my mistake was far from a failure. As cliche as it sounds, I've learned that getting it right the first time isn't how we do things at Commonwealth. Sure, occasionally I know what I'm talking about, but most of the time I speak in class, I'm just giving it an educated guess. These 4 years have taught me that if you only raise your hand when you know you're right, you're robbing yourself of the chance to learn. When your first instinct is wrong, when you're forced to wrestle with something, you don't just end up with an answer, you walk away with a new perspective, a fresh approach, and a better understanding. If I hadn't gotten a C on my first bio test, how long would it have taken me to learn that real studying takes more than just glancing at the study guide and convincing myself I'll remember all the details? And if I hadn't gotten that same grade on my next test, followed by a note asking if I wanted to check in, when would I have learned how helpful meeting with your teachers outside class can be? The truth is, in every single class I've taken at Commonwealth, I've never stopped making mistakes. Just a few months ago, Miss Budding deducted a point from my paper for saying Louis XIV lived in 1957. A much-needed reminder that proofreading at 1 a.m. probably isn't the best idea. A personal favorite of mine is when Mr. Spaulding pulled me aside to ask how it was possible that Andrew and I had the same exact work on a problem set, the same steps, down to the very last number, yet I still got the answer wrong and he got it right. To this day, I genuinely have no idea. My point is, learning isn't linear. Neither is progress, nor growth. We've all heard that 1,000 times. But for the final time in your Commonwealth career, I want you to picture a graph. I know, first a history lecture, now a math class, but bear with me. Imagine the x-axis is the insanely short 40 minutes of a Commonwealth class. Make the y-axis how much you learn, how much you progress, whatever growth means to you. As the period goes on, as you become more and more frustrated trying to replicate the freakishly perfect circle Miss Anna effortlessly drew on the board, your graph inches upwards, steadily, but slowly. Then, you boldly raise your hand and take a shot at a question. Yikes, you got it wrong. You stress as you imagine the line dipping. Except, it doesn't. Because once you hear the correct answer and it starts to click, the pieces of what you learned earlier begin to fall into place. And then, boom, suddenly, the line tracking your progress shoots upwards off the chart. Now zoom out. Picture that same graph, but stretched across your whole time at Commonwealth. Every little dip, every mess up, every blunder you've ever made is smoothed out. All that's left is a picture of your exponential growth, a representation of all the times you got it wrong and the ways you were better for it. It is to 14-year-old Payson's dismay that I stand here today and admit that I've not only spent the last 4 years making mistakes, but will likely keep making them for the rest of my life. But while Commonwealth has guaranteed I'm no stranger to mistakes, it's also taught me how to never fail. Because avoiding failure has nothing to do with the mistakes you've made, and everything to do with how you bounce back. As we all face the future and its invitations to fail, whether it's 4 years of college, leaving Boston for the first time, or whatever else everyone in this room has planned, I urge you to welcome the educated guess, the stumble, the wrestling with things that are difficult or unknown. Never stop taking risks and giving it your best shot. Better yet, make a few mistakes. Fall on your face, pick yourself back up, and then fall again. Embrace your missteps because they're the right steps. And though today we may be leaving the crammed halls of 151 and Comm Ave behind, we will forever carry the lessons our 4 years together gave us. So keep raising your hands and raise them bravely. It's the Commonwealth way. Thank you.
Hi everyone, could you guys hear me in the back? Okay. I'm gonna start this speech by saying, I'm just a girl who kept on doing hard things until the easy things started to feel boring. From the moment I arrived at Commonwealth, or maybe even before, I had one goal: to get into MIT. I came here because middle school didn't challenge me enough. And my parents taught me, if everything feels easy, then you're not in the right place anymore. For me, that place was Commonwealth. It was exciting, but overwhelming. It was both the smallest and biggest place I had ever been in. I felt like everyone around me was smarter, more articulate, more prepared. As a low-income, first-generation student, my challenges weren't just academic. I commuted to get here, just like a lot of you, every day. I helped raise my siblings, I translated paperwork for my parents, I juggled volunteering, leading clubs, working internships, diving into engineering and art, all while keeping up with Commonwealth's intense workload. Some people made assumptions about me, especially when they heard my dad was a janitor at MIT and my mom stayed at home. At a welcome event for admitted students, where I was representing the school as an ambassador, a parent looked at me and asked, "Are you an average student?" I naively said yes, because my grades weren't perfect. But I'll never forget the disappointment in their eyes. It stuck with me. Am I average? No, I never was. Back then, I didn't have the same fire in my voice or glow in my face that I do now when I talk about what I love. Maybe I looked average on paper. But over time, I realized I've always been a little extra, just not in ways people expected. My brilliance didn't always show up in test scores, but it lived through the late nights, the quiet persistence, the refusal to give up, even after getting a few C's, even when it felt like I was breaking. Commonwealth didn't just challenge us academically. It taught us how to ask for help, how to grow through failure, how to let go of perfection. One of the people who helped me realize that was Mr. Wolf. In the spring of 2023, when I was struggling emotionally and academically, he encouraged me to attend a local engineering seminar. There, I heard about groundbreaking projects and even helped a student elaborate on their spectroscopy-inspired work. Spectroscopy, by the way, is the science of how light interacts with matter. Even in that hard season, Mr. Wolf saw something in me, a spark. He reminded me I wasn't defined by my grades, but by my drive to make things. That summer, I leaned into who I truly was, a builder, a problem solver, a maker. I taught myself different types of softwares, built prototypes, and realized how even sketching homework with Mr. Colpitz could turn messy ideas into something real. Because that's what engineering is, turning chaos into creation. It's late nights, frustration, small victories. It's staying up until 2 a.m., asking, why isn't this working? And loving the challenge. And because Commonwealth trained me to overanalyze everything, here's an etymology lesson. Passion. It comes from the Latin pati, to suffer. And obsession, it means being willing to suffer again and again for something that matters. That's what engineering was for me. And I know I'm not alone. Every one of us found something, whether it was art, activism, writing, math, music, that kept us going. We chased ideas, failed, and got back up. not for grades, but for curiosity, for the dream that we could build something that mattered. And yes, I did get into MIT, but that's not the point. The point is, I became someone with vision, with obsession, with fire, someone who can't help but chase ideas and shape what doesn't exist yet. That's what Commonwealth gave me, not just credentials, but clarity, not just knowledge, but purpose. My proudest moments weren't just technical, they were personal. I co-founded a group for low-income students so no one else would feel alone like I once did. I supported peers in their toughest classes just like I once needed support. And I had the chance to build something bigger than myself with people like Jake, the other co-founder of Engineering Club. Despite our different backgrounds, we shared a common passion. Together we made a club where everyone felt welcome, where failure was just a step toward learning. We weren't just designing projects, we were redesigning Commonwealth's STEM culture to be more inclusive. That's what I hope you take from this. You don't have to be perfect to dream big. You just have to be passionate, care enough to keep going, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Let yourself fail and then make a plan. Because you might not only catch up to the people you once thought were ahead of you, but you might surpass them. Or as Warren Buffett once said, an idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. And for those still searching for their passion, try things, build, sketch, explore, make messes. That's what Commonwealth was for me, a place that wasn't built for someone like me necessarily, but where I made space anyway. We all brought something unique, though we were all quirky in different ways. Some of us studied 24/7, some of us wrote novels for fun, and that's something, my friends, I still don't understand. Some of us built robots, some of us built community. We didn't always understand each other, we were cliquey, but somehow we made it work. What united us wasn't perfection, it was persistence. It was our refusal to stay silent. We stood up, we spoke out, we challenged what Commonwealth was and changed it. That's what makes us uncommon. And yes, this cap and gown, this isn't just fabric. This year is the first time Commonwealth students are graduating wearing caps and gowns, and it didn't happen by accident. It happened because our class pushed for it. Because we believe that milestones should be visible, that students from all backgrounds should feel seen, celebrated, and honored. For students like me, this isn't just a ceremony. It's a symbol of transformation, of growth, of saying to the world, we were here, we did it, and we changed things for those who come next. Like my mom always says, échale ganas, mija. Keep going, keep writing your story. Congratulations to the class of 2025, and I hope you find what you're looking for and build what only you can create. Thank you.
Are you ready?
Prosper Chisim Anoke Samuel. Christopher Cody Bow. Payson Framrose Villamoria. Henry Booth. Andrew David McNeil Carter. Sarin Chaimaiteampol. Eli Dennenberg. Peter Lyle Dowd. Henry Albert Furman. Aritra Ghosh. Hannah Galil. Oliver Grant. Katie Heim Venus. Alec Lazorisak. Alyssa Catherine Lopes. Amy Louise McPeak. Felix August Mitral. Bianca Rose Mintz. Katya Kai Greenwich Nigro. J. Sunyoung Kim Park. Anya Ratachandani. Melanie Jimena Rodriguez. Fisher Roman. Ayala Anastasia Salmon Malcolm. Dylan Sherry. Ella Sherry. Brooks Green Shostrom. Govind Velamore. Lillian Rose Walsh. Zachary Walton. Bonnie Wang. E-Ray Wong. William Washko. Ryan Sia. Remus Mohammed Salema Youssef. Charlie Zhang. Milena Zhivanovic. Please join me in congratulating Commonwealth's class of 2025.